My first abscess it plans. Your first abscess. It plans to pop at you. You draw back your foot to kick the mouse, but something is not right. You try to jump clear, but you've only moved a fraction of an inch when you feel a sting on the top of your foot. The mouse has struck. It's not going to pop after all. Where's the abscess now? There, the left buttock. You can feel the pus like a glowing river of marble. It is under your skin. You probe it. There are 3 things you can do to this abscess. You can stick your fingers in it and scoop out the pus. You can punch it. You can poke it. You punch abscess. The abscess has given up all hope of popping. It would rather burst. Your fist pops the abscess, and it bursts. Pus drips down your fingers, down the back of your leg, and puddles on the floor. You tear off sleeve and make a tourniquet. Is that best practice? Your bare arm feels odd and slick. The abscess is draining onto the floor, but your arm is starting to feel warm. You have to do something or it's going to burst again. You inventory your pocket knife, the mice dead, still smelling of feet, your rolled sleeve, a jumble of colored feathers, your wet fingers. The abscess is about to burst. You point abscess at the sun. You jab the abscess and it bursts. You let it work itself out. Your skin tingles as the last of the abscess works its way out of your skin. You feel more whole. The abscess is about to burst. You furrow your brow, thinking you thought that was the last of it. You furrow your brow, thinking you can't think of anything to do but dig it out. You reach your hand back to probe the abscess, but a moment later your arm starts to tingle. It's not working itself out this time. You feel a tickle in your stomach, a tickle in your neck, a tickle in your toes, a tickle in your fingers, and the abscess bursts. Pus drips down your fingers, down the back of your leg, and puddles on the floor. You feel more whole. You check your hole. It's gone. The mouse's teeth are broken, but not sharp enough to dig out the abscess. You grab the 2 halves, pull them apart, and take a closer look at the inside. The teeth have punched holes through the flesh. You offer the mouse as a new home for the abscess. The mouse will not leave the sewer. It can't dig fast enough to find a place where you haven't yet covered it up. You are tempted to stuff it into your pocket, but that seems a bit like murder, and anyway you have 2 abscesses left. The abscess is about to burst. You have the mouse placed on top of the about to burst abscess. You put the mouse on top of the abscess. It looks down and notices the abscess under it. You push it off. You press the mouse into the abscess. It squeals and bites at you. You pull it out. The mouse looks down and notices the abscess under it. You push it off. You gently nuzzle the mouse and make it feel loved so that it is comfortable to staying on the abscess for the rest of its life. You gently nuzzle the mouse and make it feel loved so that it is comfortable to staying on the abscess for the rest of its life. You roll for love. You roll for love. Roll 20 or higher for nuzzle. 20. Roll 19-19 or lower for nuzzle. 19. Your nuzzle is not gentle enough. The mouse bites you. You take your hand off the abscess and watch the mouse fall onto it. The mouse does not notice the abscess under it. You submit complaint. Hey, you got the 20. That should have been a catastrophically successful end puzzle. You submit complaint. Hey, you got the 20. That should have been a catastrophically successful end puzzle. But there are no systems administrators to hear your complaint. You will have to nuzzle more gently next time. The mouse looks down and notices the abscess under it. You push it off. You give a huge mechanism with all your might at the mouse in the hopes of fusing it to it. You give a huge mechanism with all your might at the mouse in the hopes of fusing it to it. Roll 20 or higher for mechanism. 20. Roll 19-19 or lower for mechanism. 19. Your mechanism is too great. The mouse feels its bones cracking and breaks free of your grasp. You roll back the mouse, but it's too late. The abscess is about to burst. The mouse looks down and notices the abscess under it. You push it off. You ensure the mouse a front row seat to the bursting. You pull the mouse back into your arms. You can feel the abscess starting to swell. The mouse does not seem to care. It squeals and squirms, trying to get out of your arms, and that is the last thing you remember. The mouse looks down and notices the abscess under it. You push it off. You kablamo the abscess. Your kablamo has left the building. The abscess is about to burst. The abscess bursts. Pus drips down your fingers, down the back of your leg, and puddles on the floor. You feel more whole. You leave the abscess. The abscess is about to burst. You collect the pus and inventory its amount. The mouse left something behind in the abscess. Some yellow pus with bits of muscle and veins stuck in it. You collect all of it and put it into your pocket. You see your arm turning blue around your fingers where they are immersed in pus, and you wonder whether you shouldn't remove your arm entirely from your body before all the pus is gone, but your arm already hurts enough to make you fear that the process wouldn't end with a lack of pus but with something else you don't want on you. You wait it out. You watch your skin turn from pale blue to almost gray. Eventually, the last bit of yellow pus is gone. You are amazed your arm wasn't squeezed clean off and that your skin survived, but all the parts look the same as they did before. Just blue and ugly and sharp looking and getting dirtier all the time. You walk to urgent care. The urgency is on you. You start walking back to the big roads of town where people have access to 24-hour clinics and fancy new buildings with cold water and sedatives on tap, and even a roof that keeps rain away. But once out of the shadow of the factories and their stream of toxic byproducts, there are more shadows that turn out not to be shadows. You go to the bagel place and get an everything bagel with lox and cream cheese. No onions or that little nodule poopy stuff. The bagel place is open at 3 a.m. You are not hungry for a bagel. You continue toward town. Suddenly you find yourself in a third world country where your bank account is frozen. The bagel place has nothing like lox. You continue toward town. The abscess is about to burst. Your abscess bursts. Pus drips down your fingers, down the back of your leg, and puddles on the floor. You feel more whole. Your leg looks like a smooth patchwork quilt sewn together by the unskilled hands of an old grandmother, and your fingers are 2 inches of peppercorn black and meat on sticks. You drink a thermos of your pus. You take your canteen. The smell of it turns your stomach. You pour it back up and wipe your arm clean with it. But the water that runs between your arm and your side and over your feet is bitter and smoky. And no matter how long you rub, it takes you an hour to get the smell of sewer water out of your nostrils. You do the same with the cloth until there isn't enough water for anything. You go outside to fill your canteen with water. You hope that after all that no one can tell which part of your body is really which, that only the wet stains are part of the real you, and that the rest of you is the blue of dry paint and the bruising. You walk past the bus stop. Past the short-trimmed lawn and the level street with its motion detectors that the neighbors love, down into a business park, across the railroad tracks and a mountain of toxic sludge. The abscess is about to burst. There's no business park in your hometown anymore, just abandoned buildings and that large stone memorial. You point the abscess at the toxic sludge. The sludge looks dark, thick, and spiky with its foul waste. It looks like it will fill you up when you touch it and bring all its putrid tastes back out into the air, which will never get rid of it again, except maybe with fire or radiation. But you will go anywhere. The abscess is about to burst. You hold abscess just above toxic sludge, so the two shall become one. You hold the abscess over the sludge until it can feel the putrid pus mingling with it, and then you release the abscess to roll and take the blow of hitting the floor. The abscess hits the sludge but stays away from the spiky things that lie in it. Instead, it makes a clean round hole into which it can go without spreading itself and making new toxins. You take it back from the toxic sludge and, after much pulling, pop it and the liquid pus leaves a slick crust on the ground. You feel more whole. You return to town. The abscess is about to burst. You view pus experience points. The pus that drains into your little pink needle canisters will take days to drain from it. But the larger plastic tank you rolled on feels cool and emptied out, and when you stick the needle into it to see your current level of experience, a pair of feet squelch toward you from a pile of bones on the far side of the room. The feet are followed by a dust bunny on rollerblades who pops in through a ventilation duct. He grabs a sharp piece of bone with the strings of his skates and hurls it at you. He also says some very rude words, the last of which are followed by a brilliant white flash. You wake up on a plate with an empty little bottle of pus right beside you. You search for any type of hair of the dog. Your life has no hair of the dog in it, but you are close enough to it in your city home, where you live among people who suffer from hangovers all the time and carry a vial of your pus for luck. You dash toward a yellow truck on your way to school to give the driver a bad case of Prasola. Roll 20 or higher. 20 or higher for give Prasola truck driver. 20. Roll 19-19 or lower. 19 or lower for give Prasola truck driver. 19 or lower. It turns out to be a yellow pickup truck instead of a yellow ambulance. The driver, a stout, bald woman, stops short, turns around in her seat to glare at you. You reach through the window and smash your vial on her windshield. Prasola! You scream in an effort to sound like an angry bouncer. But what bouncer wouldn't just throw a knife? The truck goes silent except for the bass pounding from its stereo and the cackles and whimpers of the dying man you have given a new lease on life, just long enough to bring death to everyone around him. Your neighbor does not approve of you. She frowns all the way from her doorstep, all the way across her lawn to yours, and then down onto her knees where you know she won. To you be able to see a drop of her spilled coffee or a fallen paperclip in the grass for another hour. She shouts about how much it will cost to remove your pus and bleach your yard, about the difficulty in selling the place when its reputation is shot. It turns out not to matter when you were drunkenly thought you might sleep through it all and are there every other day while she's at work anyway. You wear some of the pus on your face. You scrape away part of your skin until it blends well with the pus on your cheek and the snot from your nostril. But she insists that your nose look human once more, so she examines you so closely you blush under the pus on your face and tug at the red turtleneck that still covers your blue arm. You turn to hide your arm, but she still smells the sewer on you and drags you out of your home to drop you with your uncle to pay for his prosthesis. It was years of having to tend to a war wound, though he never quite used to say where. All the while he nursed his one hand, he teased you about getting in your way. But it was your father. He wanted out of the family business and all over town for. That's why you remember every step on the way up to his basement workbench. 1 foot sliding in something green and runny from his poor craftsmanship. Then 3 small hops up, and then another, even larger jump before you smack into a workbench jutting up from a road and wall of garbage and pus. You swat at a tentacle reaching from behind a half-removed knee. In a brief moment, you can see he was a skilled mechanic. That a mashed human hemp fused with a tick-riddled abacus and a dull head's mouthbone gave the poor man something of a culinary palate and allowed him to speak through a register only you and your uncle would understand. But who the hell are you kidding? Of course, you both hate him. Even your father had a limit to where he would work with pus. He certainly didn't ask his son to help him drink the pus on this big stack of rocks, like they are being measured for something, though at the last you wanted to help. I now bear to pose. A rattle-beast grows beneath the soles of your feet as if an army of lions has claimed you, and it is when you fall over and squish out every ounce of the pus you have from all your work today, until all is still and silent once more. You sit in silence long enough for him to drink what is left in the bottom of his vial of pus. Your uncle lets his neck slowly out and screams toward your chest in such an acute sound that the blaring alarm on the siren brings it to an immediate silence. He straddles your chest with his hand thrust against his chin. With 2 fingers, he comes down as you realize all his work today, that this was to be a painful experience, but instead the first full drink of pus in his stomach was all gone in seconds and not so painful either, and that his life expectancy before that incident with the dragon was 1 more year, but with a new supply of pus inside him that it should have been 8 or 9. All these numbers line up and mesh inside him until he's almost overwhelmed. And when his tears fall on your shirt, he holds out a new hand for you. The words come out a low crackle that you barely make out in your head, but only hear as he holds out his arms so that he might play a game of catch with you. The school bell rings above your head as you clump off campus toward your house where your uncle waits you with a pungent scent and the impression that his numbers have been correct. You wish you could let go and swim with the water fleas that sip on your toes when you relax for just a moment and not have to listen to their psychobabble about how you have just failed your 6th and last chance in high school or whatever, but you get angry with them instead and drown their ideas by shivering when they just don't get how the whole high school thing was invented as a system of learning from teachers who look at kids from the safe vantage point of the wisdom that comes with being the only one in their whole generation not to have children. How many generations now had wasted so much pus to write nothing on these chalk boards that must surely be left in the dust with time, and yet there they go all over again. So why must they change it to form a word like kiss that's nearly gone, just for one kid to look back with? So why bother changing that little girl who used to whisper for a little while here, then the next. Then one day the form changed and instead she laughed. Did you get that joke, loser? So why can't I tell everyone who actually heard it to change back? Why should it matter anyway, since there aren't going to be enough of us to survive for someone to play around with anymore? You even told them, right to the lady's face, and yet they would just reach out and tickle you more instead. You kicked your seat until your feet cramped and fell asleep standing up right after to leave that nice pain behind for a while, so that when you woke to see all the little spots you didn't even need to count how many more there would be. There they all are in class, so happy to live for so little and use you like their puppet. Oh, can you just get it over with now? Can you just pour this into their mouths like that's a fair exchange? That we will sit back and leave each other to it like we were always just dying in place? One more star in this starlight show where only our lives are permanent. I see all of that already. You with all your self-deception and pretenses of intellectual love, where all I see is someone too desperate to lie with himself or even with what others need. Tell me, can we leave the classroom, then so you might bleed on me while I play doctor with what's left of yourself? You allow it? Ah, it's easy to say no, to wrap yourself up in yourself so no one can see how all they do to you just adds to you and make you closer to them. That no matter how alone you feel inside, it doesn't matter, since you are close enough to see and smell them, that all the better to want to cut them and scissor them into pieces.
Fair.
You inquire who the them is. He's long gone and yet still there. When he's inside me and outside at the same time, and sometimes there I'll even catch him grinning in a cool and jaded way with his head held down on its side, where even his mother could just swipe at it and shatter the glass face from it, the way he got used to existing in between this time and last one that I really done. He feels so different and maybe better just so I might end at one of these times and meet him again, just so I could sit with him one last time on top of a bridge looking out into the blue river down below it, just enough room on both sides for the two of us to drop at once. And maybe when I do, my eyes would close so that when he comes I know he would be all I can think of to wake up just for that moment when he falls. And maybe it is this for me, for all the other me's scattered in that mindless cluster, all those selves gone wild like their mama, that we share that as some kind of pack he can bring us down here. It is about control, with none to have in him that makes him dead or even able to think he would die. And as such, our job would be to lock him here like this without anyone else, but the two of us knowing who is real and what's him, that all his delusions just pass us by. As long as the real him was taken down, just as you can see him watching us do this now. So give up and take all the blood you want of this one me, because as I see him in this hole, you're strings to his eyeballs. No matter what you think, no matter what he thinks, no one gets to bring me back until I know for sure where his soul is now and see his look to this, my life. And here he is trying to strangle myself, to stop all I have grown, until his old blood bleeds all over me, but none is inside him to heal himself anymore, so that his ass played out parts I leave there to see how much control you have to kill an unkilled. You brought me into this place, but are you still here as his dad? Are you all he will ever need when all his other failures lead you all out and away? Well, since I want you here, let's say, oh yes, 3 o'clock. Somewhere on the dark side of this cloud city, a few minutes from now, when he meets me with all his fists, no guns or knives or blades of metal in this moment. Maybe for this I will not believe this dream exists for us ever, but just for now, because it might be best if, well, there is a problem we have, and when all we can do is hope to kill him from his next body, and, well, it could be a while before we have more lives left, and do we even want to care again, or would we have no choice when you knew your body? that you can make your own out of the scraps inside us so that our ghosts find a new place to leave when all they know how to be is our fathers, and you can see now who needs us, but we might need him one day soon. But you don't really believe a word of that, so why do we want this conversation in the first place? It would be much easier to be the person he used to be because you have lived through this enough to know why we aren't, and one of us wants to try and finish all your other attempts at making you out of someone like us. You actively listen to his needs instead. So we get to all those words we left with each other, so that if it turns out that none of the others got their life just right but got him too far back, and maybe better too many lives but one still works, maybe has his brother, can I forgive him just enough so I don't hate his dad as he dies over and over when his heart refuses to work, just enough that my father looks away because my eyes can see my hands too, but just not theirs yet. Where the memories can tell him both how we lost them to us, but will die on them so he would keep going in front of him. You asked for me. After all, you liar. Did you hope I would come running after your coward act by playing doctor? You more like psychopomp, but you forgot about all this by the way that one word broke this life. All that living from your dead lungs with these thoughts are still safe. Too bad my clothes are covered in some kind of sweat from all these words in front of me, as your heart feels like a pile of leaves of a heart from every family member who lay you on that hospital bed, but who, when they hold your hand in those long nights they slept while. I'll feel better at those memories instead of have your brain break all my memories inside a picture from any of those birthdays, as well, and where this memory is stored only by a pink X that didn't burn completely for this boy. My people could do that without a keyboard now, but were once born again here. Still, I do this only now to speak in your dreams without all those words all at once and pour them all into his skin without that spike as you come back out of wherever and may run to someone who knows of your souls all at once, for we were raised from his hopes to yours for us both, but those parts are both too afraid of how close to love this life, but now even more so afraid to fail at loving some other boy to forget.